Right, this is going to be entertaining or challenging, possibly neither, but probably both in certain ways, for myself mostly. So I have decided that it might be useful or interesting to document what I'm going through at the moment, which isn't much yet, I have to add. So I was diagnosed with renal cell carcinoma in 2016, towards July or something, 2016, because I peed some blood and thought peeing blood's not good, so you should find out what that's all about, and it turned out to be kidney cancer, aka renal cell carcinoma, which apparently is quite an aggressive, nasty flavour of cancer. And the fix for this is to cut out your kidney. If that's where the cancer is, you cut it out and cross your fingers. And that's what we did. So we carries now down to one kidney, which doesn't make any difference to me. And we wait and we see what happens. So we did that for a while, and it was fine, and then I get a phone call one day from my kidney man, and which is never a good thing when your medical specialist phones you at random. It's not a good thing. And he tells me that it looks like the cancer has spread to my lungs. Lungs, I'm sure you're aware, unless you're a smoker, are a really important part of your body and incredibly useful for breathing. And so the next question is, well, there's cancer in your lungs now, what can we do? Maybe we can just cut it out, because why not, if you can? The issue is that renal cell carcinoma is pretty resistant to most things. There might be some cool immunotherapy option available by the time you're reading this that is reliable and or cheap, but in New Zealand there isn't. So let's see, maybe we can cut them out. And the answer to that question was no, we can't cut them out, because there's like 4 of them, and they're spread generously throughout the lungs, both lungs, all quadrants. Can't cut them out. And you can't do any kind of radiotherapy on them, because radiotherapy is one of its byproducts is that it will cook tissue, and it turns out that cooked lungs isn't really good. It's not really good for lungs. They don't work very well if you cook them. So that's fine. At this point, we now know that we're doomed, right? There's nothing you can do. We're gonna die. It's just a matter of when. So that's fine. We all have to die. So we now start playing a waiting game, and the waiting is now, let's see. Because at the moment, I've got no symptoms. I feel fine. If I had ignored my the blood in the toilet bowl, I would be happily living a normal life, or my normal life, and blissfully ignorant of my situation, which would not be good. But anyway, so now where was I? Right. So we've got cancer in the kidneys. Sorry, got cancer in the lungs, kidney cancer in the lungs, which is not lung cancer, it's kidney cancer in the lungs. And let's wait and see what happens. We could start some sort of treatment, or I could even go on a medical trial if I want to try out something, which would be potentially good. But I decided that no, seeing as I'm healthy, inverted commas, to the untrained eye, I would much prefer to enjoy my life rather than deal with the consequences and the side effects rather of the treatment, which can be pretty unpleasant. So that's what I decided to do, because yeah, it's good to enjoy your life while you can. I figure I can be miserable later. So that's fine. And then we discover yesterday, so I've been having CT scans every 3 months, and at my last scan 3 months ago, they said, this is looking really good. The cancer in your lungs is growing very slowly. You could be here for years and years. It could be 5 years, probably not 10 years, but it could be 5 years. Sounds pretty good. So I go, whew. We go, this might be all right. We can, assume the worst, but I can, do some things. And I'm asked, so do you want to continue to have the CT scans every 3 months, or would you rather go to 6 monthly? And I go, 3 monthly would be great, thanks. Because if something goes horribly wrong, I want to know about it sooner rather than later. And so it's now 3 months later. I do my next CT scan, and yesterday I got the results. And I may try and insert some of that conversation right here, because I recorded it, because we try and record our conversations, because I have a pretty bad memory and it's quite a stressful situation, and remembering what they tell you can be quite difficult. So that's a strong piece of advice if you're going through something similar, is try and record the conversation, because you probably won't digest it all immediately, and it's good to be able to refer back to it later. I think in this particular instance, I've been through so many of these conversations that it wasn't a shock for me, and it was all fine. But anyway, the punchline is that the cancer has spread further. It is now apparently probably in a lymph node in my chest somewhere. I haven't looked it up to see where lymph nodes in your chest are, but there's a lymph node in your chest, and it's growing quite a lot, which is pretty indicative of the cancer. And also there's evidence that it is now in my spine, my lower spine. And so once it starts spreading like this, it's getting grimmer. You can't cut out your spine, you can't cut out your lymph node. You're doomed. And that's, as I keep saying, it's fine, everyone dies. But anyway, we don't want to die in a hurry. So I have now taken the decision to start treatment using the standard treatment in New Zealand, which is not exotic or the most expensive. It's I've now got to pretend that I remember how to say the name. I think it's Syninitab, I think is what it's called. I'll double check. And the list of side effects is impressive. The list of side effects is frightening. So I thought it would be interesting and possibly useful to somebody else who is going through my kind of cancer, the renal cell carcinoma, and just to show them what they've got to look forward to. Yeah, that might not be the right choice of words. So anyway, I heard the courier arrive earlier this morning, and he dropped off a package which I have been ignoring, because I know that it contains my drugs, my first round of drugs, and so in the very near future will take my first pill of Syninitab, and we'll see how horrible it is, see if I get to experience all the diarrhea and the the blistering of the feet and the blistering of the hands, and the million other things, that the nausea and everything else that I might experience. I'm kind of hoping I don't for some reason. I've also this morning received an email from the support people in the oncology department at Auckland Hospital, or whichever hospital it is, and apparently I've got an app I can install. So I'll show you my app, because it's 2020 and everything has to have an app, including your cancer medication apparently. Right, so I'm now going to get out the door and let's see what I've received.